Howdy, folks. This is Kendrick from Nurgle Loves You. Now, because of the way my brain works, I'm constantly seeking solutions for stuff. Most often, not things that matter to me or will help me. They're usually for other people. So I have these random thoughts all the time. So we're going to start just a one-off series on the channel for giggles. And what I'm going to do is every time I have one of these weird thoughts that I think anybody might care about, I'm going to just film it real quick in my car and or wherever I'm at, and I'll put it up on the YouTube channel. Why not? Because usually what will happen is I fix a problem, and because it doesn't matter to me, I forget about the problem or I forget about the solution or something like that. But every now and then I have a good idea, or I have a thought. It doesn't even have to be a good idea, but I have a thought. So the one that got me this morning is the habitual inclination by Hollywood to create shitty reboots. And they don't look bad. See, that's what kills me. The production value on these reboots is relatively good. It's just really poorly edited. The stories are just really poorly put together. And this is usually... So this is one of those things about writing. When you're writing a story and checking off specific boxes, like when you look at the remakes for Star Wars, they recently just released a board of things that they wanted to accomplish with their story instead of focusing on having a good story, right? When you're trying to check things off like that, it kind of makes the story mechanical. It makes the story the story's unnatural, right? And I think this is why a lot of these reboots are shit, is because they're trying to check off boxes instead of trying to tell a story or expand the universe, right? And so what occurred to me, so there's a trend happening in the online world. Just kind of explain to some of you that don't understand what I'm talking about, and then as soon as I explain the context of the two things, it'll come to your brain as well. So it's very concerning on the online community that there's a thing called deepfakes. So a deepfake is the ability to mimic someone's voice and or their image. Okay? And of course, the whole fake news thing, everybody's freaking out and worried about this. I'm not particularly worried about this because I don't believe the news anyways. If you've ever seen the news, coordinated news stories and stuff like that. Nah. Anyways, the process of having these deepfakes lends itself to a very interesting opportunity for someone with a little bit of talent. I personally don't have this talent, but someone who is capable of generating these deepfake images and voices could fundamentally generate new footage for these rebooted movies. Okay? And ultimately, they could re-edit or redesign these movies to make them not shit. Because an editing technique that it's used pretty commonly in these videos is, so sometimes when you have dialogue or you have to have an exposition, right? But you don't have the B-reel footage for it, or you don't have the footage of a character saying that, what they'll often do is they'll insert they'll insert like a B-reel, or they'll insert like a specific scene. So like when they're talking about the Predators, and and Predator is the one I'm specifically interested in today, because I love that franchise. For fundamentally being a joke as a franchise, it has potential for amazing stories. If you've read any of the Dark Horse, like the old Predator comic books, there are some amazing stories that come out of that universe. And we get shit for reboot. Anyways, and I actually liked the Predators, like the one where you're on the planet. I really liked that one. That's to me, that's a decent sequel to Predator 2, right? I kind of go in that order. I like Predator 2, The Predators, AVP, AVP2, the Predator. Wait, is there an AVP3? I don't think there's a 3. Anyways, the 1 and 2. Actually, I like AVP2 better than 1. It's actually was supposed to have been filmed not far from where I live. But like the kid getting, I think the kid gets eaten in that one, right? Face hugged? Yeah, anyways. That's funny. So anyways, what they do is they cut a scene in so that they can talk with dialogue over the top. If you could deepfake someone's voice and make one of those cutscenes, you could make the story whatever it wants to be. It doesn't have to be this stupid global warming, agenda-filled mess that is the Predator, right? Because let's be honest, hyper technological spacefaring race wants to occupy your planet. The last thing they're going to do is show up, steal a bunch of DNA, wait for the planet to kill itself. Nah. They're going to exterminatus that bitch, kill everything, and do what they want with it. Right? Like, you can't tell me they don't have bioweapons. Right? The idea of these, like, aliens showing up and, like, fighting us, they're not going to fight us. They're the only reason they would fight us, the only reason you could go one-on-one, toe-to-toe with an alien of any kind. 2 ways I can think of. First way, for sport. You're either in a gladiatorial arena or they're hunting you. Okay? That's a legit reason why you would be fighting an alien. Okay? 2, an invasion of some kind of insectoid species. Right? Something like the Tyrannid. Right? The Tyrannid, it's more cost effective for the Tyrannid to just drop some spores on a planet and let it wreck itself. Right? That's their bioweapon. They are the bioweapon. But someone like the alien greys, or, insert alien species here, there's not going to be a ground war. There's not going to be an alien invasion. Because think about it. If you were going to take over an alien planet and you could give a shit about casualties, would you be like, you know what? I'm going to land some of my bros down there and we're going to wreck it? No, of course not. Orbitally, you might do it as a cleanup measure, right? Go in, orbitally bombard all major population centers, drop a couple viruses, and then go down to clean up whatever's left over. Right? Predators would not be splicing themselves with us for any reason or doing stupid stuff like that. That's ridiculous. And it ruined all the Predators. Like, that's what kills me about these reboots too, is they completely rewrite the entire canon. 30 years of Predator completely rewritten for no reason. Right? No reason. They could have made an awesome global warming story. I could have written a global warming story if that was what they really needed to do. That still included proper canon. Right? Predators are hunting people because people are going to go extinct. It's important to hunt the rare animals before they die. Why do the guys, the rich bros, have to have the white rhinoceros on their wall before the white rhinoceros is no longer in the in the world? Shazam! Doesn't require some weird ass splicing, and the splicing was to create the super soldier, right? We already had a larger alien, or a larger predator. I'm sorry, we already had a larger predator from the Predators. But somehow they needed, like, super predator? I mean, come on. Really? That fight scene sucked. How cool. I mean, it's like, it could have been like a pair of ninjas, right? They could have been, like, sneaking around in the forest, and, like, you could have done half a movie on that bitch. Half a movie of them, one hunting the other one. How freaking cool would that have been? Anyways, I digress. The point that I'm making is that with the ability to mimic voices and faces and make things look real, right? With this deep fake technology, fundamentally the fan base can rewrite everything. Right? It would be easy to just take the video that the studio produced, re-edit it, rewrite their dialogue, generate deep fake dialogue, right? And deep fake imagery, create some B-roll using their CGI techniques, because honestly there's fans out there with better CGI than some of the studios, right? And you just boom, bam, put that shit in there and produce a decent flick. And actually, this is my prediction. In the next 10 years, you're going to start seeing reboots of reboots. People taking this deep fake technology, going backwards, finding the holes and the problems in the canon and fixing them so that we can get back on track. I say 10 years, not even 10 years. If I had the talent, I'd start doing it now. I have no talent, right? I don't have the eye, or the dexterity for decent artwork. But there's someone out there, hopefully you see this, who's going to realize, oh shit, I have those skills. I can fix all of these reboots. Star Wars, fixed. Predator, fixed. The entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, fixed. DC, fixed. Right? They could go through and fix all of this hokey bullshit, and it would look good. It'd be decent. All these people are worried about, fake news. Shit, I'm not worried about fake news. I'm excited for fake fiction, right? We're gonna start fixing everything. You can go back and here's the thing. Here's what'll happen. And you say, well, maybe it doesn't need fixed. Maybe it doesn't. Here's the thing. Bro puts a movie together, rewrites Predator, not original Predator, because if someone does that, fuck them, right? But because that's, goddamn, that is a great movie. Like it boggles my mind. It boggles my mind that the simplicity, the complexity of this, of this amazing simple idea, right? What a great fucking movie. What a great fucking idea. It's kind of like when I read Robert E. Howard, right? Or H.P. Lovecraft. Those bros were so tight. Their stories were so tight. So well crafted. Right? And then you see this modern day Cthulhu bullshit. Or this modern day Conan bullshit. And you're like, bros, just edit. Just take a minute. Sit down and re-edit your shit. The short story is dead. Essentially. And this is what I enjoy writing. This is what I enjoy writing, is the fucking short story. Because the short story takes so much more work. So much more work than people realize. Anyways. Yeah, so if someone deepfakes the Predator, fuck them. But the new Predator, yeah, that needs fixed. That whole fucking thing needs right? But let's say some bro puts one together and it's shit, right? The community will say, hey bro, that's shit. And then some other bro will come along and he'll fix it until it'll be like survival of the fittest. Movies will no longer be about the studio just puts a fucking movie out and expect people to buy them. In fact, if I was the studios, do you know what I would do? Frankly, if I was the studios, I would set up a way to disseminate the raw footage of the movies that were no longer being published. So all the reel for all, if a movie's more than 2 years old, I would set up a way where people would have access to that raw footage. And for a licensing fee, percentage, 10% of these, or actually better yet, they'd be better off starting a service like YouTube, but it's only for these kinds of flicks. Because you wouldn't even need deepfakes at that point. If the studio released the raw footage of like this recent Predator, – people could go through and re-edit the movie to not be shit. Right? I would subscribe to a service like that, wouldn't you? Where you jump on and you see like 20 fucking versions of the Predator, and you could go in and be like, oh, that bro did a good job. Ooh, that shit's nice, right? Wouldn't you do that? That's what I think G-Dubs should do. I think one of the things GW is, and I've talked about this in the past, they're on a bad model with their IP. What they need to be doing is they need to be embracing the community and letting the community run amok. Put a little percentage on there, figure out how to monetize that, right? And then let people run with it. You know, but they're so worried about their IP but the community will police itself, right? Some bro writes a book and it doesn't meet the canon. I'll be the first one on there. Hey, bro, didn't you read this book over here? Because you can't do shit like that. Do you know what I mean? So the community would police itself. You set the IP. You say this is what the IP is. But I would be releasing the IP. I would be saying like the Astartes movie that guy's putting together, right? I would be hosting that dude. I would be supporting that dude. I would be fucking, trying to get him crowdfunding. I would be doing all sorts of stuff under the auspice that I'm gonna get something back. Because IP is infinite. They're mining. They're acting like it's a resource that can't be recreated, that the human creativity can't be redone, right? It's infinite. Human creativity is infinite. You could have 1,000 books solely on the Salamanders chapter right now. Right now, you could just have 1,000 books on the Salamanders chapter. You'd have movies. You'd have toy lines. Let dudes sculpt toys. Let dudes sculpt things. And I would put them on a subscription service, and I'd call it the G-Dubs community platform or some shit like that. And then I would do all the sales inside there so that I could get a little bit of money back and create passive income on my infinite IP. Passive. You don't have to come up with shit. You don't have to do things. That's the other piece where I think G-Dubs really screwed up. And actually, you know what? We're going to make a different video on that because I'm already 17 minutes into this thing and all we were supposed to be talking about is deepfakes. See what happens? Anyways, with that being said, grandfather loves you. Have a good one.